Picture this, a quiet morning, the soft light of dawn filtering through the window, and a warm, comforting bowl of oatmeal on your table. For decades, we've been told this humble meal is a cornerstone of a healthy life, a virtuous start to our day. It's the choice we make to honor our bodies, to manage cholesterol, and to keep our hearts strong as we navigate our 60s, 70s, and beyond. But what if I told you that within that very bowl, a quiet betrayal might be taking place? What if the healthy additions we stir in each morning are secretly undermining our best intentions? This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about empowerment. Today, we embark on a crucial journey to uncover the 7 common oatmeal mix-ins that can be particularly harmful for us in our golden years. Understanding this paradox is the first step toward reclaiming the true, unadulterated power of our morning ritual. Let's begin. Part 1. The deceptive sweetness of brown sugar. We often reach for brown sugar, believing it's a step up from its stark white cousin. It has a rustic, wholesome appearance, evoking images of old-fashioned bakeries and natural goodness. We tell ourselves it's just a spoonful for flavor. But for a body that has journeyed through 60 or more years, that single spoonful initiates a silent biological storm. Here is the unvarnished truth. To your pancreas and your cells, the sucrose in brown sugar is processed almost identically to white sugar. When it hits your system first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, it triggers a rapid, dramatic spike in your blood glucose. Your pancreas, which may not be as robust as it was in your 30s, is forced to work overtime, pumping out insulin to manage the sudden flood. This is followed by the inevitable crash, that wave of fatigue, brain fog, and irritability that hits you mid-morning, often leaving you reaching for another sweet or starchy snack to get through the slump. This daily cycle of spike and crash does more than just ruin your morning energy. Over time, it erodes your body's sensitivity to insulin, paving the way for insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and even type 2 diabetes. It promotes chronic inflammation, the smoldering fire linked to everything from arthritis to heart disease. Let me share a story about a gentleman named Arthur, a 72-year-old retired woodworker from Vermont. Arthur was proud of his daily routine, a brisk morning walk followed by oatmeal with a heaping teaspoon of brown sugar and a splash of milk. Yet he was constantly plagued by what he called the 10 a.m. fogginess and found his joints were aching more than ever. He chalked it up to age. On his doctor's advice, he made one simple change. He swapped the brown sugar for a generous dash of cinnamon and a few chopped walnuts. Within 2 weeks, the fog lifted. He told me it was like a curtain rising. I thought my sharp mind was a thing of the past, but it was just hiding behind that spoonful of sugar. The key takeaway here is not to live a life devoid of sweetness. It is to choose our sources wisely. Instead of the fast-burning, damaging rush of processed sugar, consider the gentle sweetness of a few fresh berries, a quarter of a sliced banana, or the warm, aromatic spice of cinnamon or nutmeg. These foods offer flavor and nutrients without demanding a frantic, exhausting response from your body. Honor your morning and your body by choosing a sweetness that sustains, not stresses.
Part 2. The hidden dangers of artificial sweeteners. For those of us diligently watching our blood sugar, the little pink, blue, and yellow packets of artificial sweeteners can feel like a godsend. 0 calories, 0 sugar, the labels proclaim. It seems like the perfect solution, a way to have our sweetness and eat it too. However, the science is revealing a far more complex and troubling story, especially for the mature body. These chemical sweeteners, like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin, present a biological riddle that our bodies struggle to solve. When your tongue tastes sweetness, your brain and gut are primed for an incoming rush of calories and energy. It's a deeply ingrained evolutionary response. But when you consume an artificial sweetener, the sweetness arrives, but the calories never do. This creates a state of metabolic confusion. Your body was prepared for a fuel delivery that didn't happen. Over time, this repeated false alarm can disrupt your body's ability to regulate appetite and metabolize actual sugar. Studies suggest it can lead to increased cravings for real, high-calorie sweets later in the day, effectively defeating the purpose of choosing the sweetener in the first place. Furthermore, there is a growing body of evidence about the impact of these chemicals on our gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria that play a critical role in our digestion, immunity, and even our mood. Some artificial sweeteners have been shown to alter the balance of these vital gut bacteria, favoring the growth of harmful strains over beneficial ones. For seniors who may already be dealing with a less diverse microbiome due to age or medications, this disruption can lead to bloating, digestive distress, and a weakened immune response. Then there's the burden on our detoxification organs. Our liver and kidneys have worked tirelessly for decades. When we introduce synthetic compounds that the body doesn't recognize as food, these organs are tasked with the extra job of filtering and eliminating them. While a single packet is unlikely to cause harm, a daily habit, stirred into oatmeal and coffee year after year, adds a low-level but chronic stressor to systems that deserve our utmost care. Think of Eleanor, a 68-year-old librarian who meticulously managed her diet to control her pre-diabetes. She used sugar-free everything, including sweeteners in her daily oatmeal. Yet she suffered from constant bloating and couldn't understand why. After learning about the impact on gut health, she switched to using a splash of pure vanilla extract and a few slivered almonds for flavor. The bloating subsided, and she felt a sense of calm in her digestive system she hadn't felt in years. Her story teaches us that true health isn't about finding a cheat or a chemical shortcut. It's about providing our bodies with real, recognizable nourishment that it knows how to use. Part 3. Dried fruit, nature's concentrated sugar bomb. Dried fruit often wears a health halo. After all, it's just fruit, isn't it? Raisins, dried cranberries, apricots, dates, they seem like a wholesome, fiber-rich way to add natural sweetness and texture to our oatmeal. The problem, however, lies in the process of dehydration. When water is removed from fruit, what remains is an incredibly dense concentration of sugar, primarily fructose. This turns what was once a healthy piece of fruit into something that impacts our bodies more like candy. This is especially critical for us to understand after the age of 60. Unlike glucose, which can be used by nearly every cell in our body for energy, fructose is almost exclusively processed by the liver. When you eat a handful of raisins, you are sending a massive, direct payload of fructose straight to an organ that is already working hard. The liver's capacity to handle fructose is limited. When it's overwhelmed, it does the only thing it can. It converts the excess fructose into triglycerides, a type of fat, and stores it. This process is a primary driver of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD, a condition that is becoming alarmingly common in older adults, even those who are not overweight and drink little to no alcohol. A healthy sprinkle of dried cranberries, which are often coated in additional sugar or oils to keep them plump, can be a significant daily contributor to this silent liver damage. Let's consider Gerald, a 69-year-old retired mail carrier who loved the chewiness of dried apricots in his morning bowl. He thought he was making a heart-healthy choice, but he was struggling with rising blood pressure and a feeling of fullness and bloating after breakfast. He couldn't connect it to his healthy fruit. Once he learned about the fructose load, he swapped his handful of dried apricots for a half cup of fresh, vibrant blueberries. The change was remarkable. His bloating disappeared, and at his next checkup, his doctor noted a positive change in his blood pressure readings. "I was flooding my liver at 7 a.m. every morning and had no idea," he later reflected. The lesson is not to fear fruit, but to respect its form. When you eat a whole apple, its fructose is packaged with water and fiber. The fiber slows down digestion and the absorption of sugar, preventing the sudden, overwhelming rush to the liver. It's a perfectly designed natural package. When you eat its dried equivalent, you've stripped away that protection. So, embrace fresh or frozen fruits. Berries, sliced peaches, or chopped apples offer all the flavor and nutrients in a form that works with your body, not against it. Treat your liver with the kindness it has earned.
Part 4. The convenience trap of flavored oatmeal packets. In our quest for simplicity and convenience, those little paper packets of maple and brown sugar or apples and cinnamon oatmeal seem like a perfect solution. They promise a quick, warm, and supposedly healthy meal in under 2 minutes. For anyone living alone or juggling a busy retirement schedule, the appeal is undeniable. But we must become wise consumers and look beyond the comforting marketing claims on the box. Peeling back the label reveals a concoction of ingredients that can quietly sabotage our health. The first offender is often sodium. We associate high sodium with savory foods like canned soup or cured meats, but it's a common preservative and flavor enhancer in these sweet packets. A single serving can contain upwards of 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium. While that might not seem catastrophic, it's a significant contribution to your daily total, especially if you are managing high blood pressure or have concerns about kidney function. For our bodies, which become less efficient at excreting excess sodium as we age, this hidden salt can contribute to fluid retention, puffiness, and unnecessary strain on our cardiovascular system. Next, let's talk about flavor. The delightful taste of apple and cinnamon rarely comes from actual apples and cinnamon. Instead, it's a triumph of food science, a blend of natural and artificial flavors, chemical compounds designed to mimic the real thing. These are not nutrients. They are foreign substances that your liver and kidneys must identify, process, and filter out. Alongside them, you'll often find chemical thickeners, anti-caking agents, and preservatives designed to give the product a long and stable shelf life. This isn't food, it's a food product engineered for convenience, not for optimal health. I remember speaking with Carol, a vibrant 73-year-old who relied on these packets for her breakfast. "They're so easy, and the box says heart healthy," she explained. But she was troubled by swollen hands and a general feeling of being puffy. She decided to conduct an experiment. For 1 week, she bought plain rolled oats and simply added her own dash of cinnamon and a few slices of fresh apple. The difference was palpable. The puffiness in her hands diminished, and she felt cleaner from the inside out. The journey to wellness in our later years is about returning to simplicity. It's about choosing the real over the artificial. Making your own oatmeal from plain, rolled, or steel-cut oats takes perhaps 3 to 5 minutes longer than a packet. In those few extra minutes, you retain complete control. You decide what goes into your body. You choose nourishment over chemicals, real flavor over artificial mimicry. That simple act of self-care is a gift you can give yourself every single morning. Part 5. The creaminess deception of non-dairy creamers. A creamy texture can transform a bowl of oatmeal from merely functional to truly comforting. For those who are lactose intolerant or trying to reduce dairy, non-dairy creamers, both powdered and liquid, seem like a harmless addition. They promise that rich, smooth consistency without the dairy. Unfortunately, what they often contain is far more detrimental to our health than a splash of real milk or cream ever could be. The primary ingredient in many of these creamers is not a wholesome plant-based milk, but a combination of sugar, often corn syrup solids, and vegetable oils, and a host of chemical thickeners and emulsifiers. The most dangerous of these are often the partially hydrogenated oils. This is the industrial process that creates trans fats, an artificial fat so harmful that it has been banned in many applications. Trans fats are notorious for raising LDL or bad cholesterol while simultaneously lowering HDL or good cholesterol, a devastating one-two punch to cardiovascular health. Even products proudly labeled 0 grams trans fat can legally contain up to 0.5 grams per serving. If you use more than the tiny suggested serving size, you could be consuming a significant amount of this artery-clogging fat without even knowing it. Beyond the fats, these creamers are a chemical cocktail. Ingredients like dipotassium phosphate, a stabilizer, and sodium caseinate, a milk derivative used for texture, are not there to nourish you. They're there to create a product that mimics cream and won't clump. Every time you consume them, you are asking your body to process substances it has no biological use for, adding to the cumulative burden on your liver and kidneys. Let's talk about Frank, a 75-year-old widower who loved the convenience of powdered creamer. He stirred it into his coffee and his oatmeal daily. He was fighting a losing battle with his cholesterol numbers and experiencing vague digestive issues. His doctor, taking a detailed dietary history, flagged the creamer immediately. Frank was skeptical, but agreed to switch to a splash of unsweetened almond milk. 2 months later, his lab results had improved and his digestion was better. "He thought it was just harmless white powder," he said, shaking his head. "I never imagined it was the villain in my pantry." If you crave that creamy texture, there are wonderful whole food alternatives. A spoonful of plain Greek yogurt, if you tolerate dairy, adds creaminess and a protein boost. Unsweetened almond, oat, or soy milk provides a lovely texture with no added chemicals. You can even stir in a tablespoon of pureed pumpkin or mashed banana for a creamy, nutrient-dense result. The lesson from the creamer aisle is clear. Always be wary of products designed to imitate real food. Your body has carried you through a long and beautiful life. It deserves the real thing.
Part 6. The healthy hoax of store-bought granola. Granola has one of the most effective health halos in the grocery store. We see bags filled with oats, nuts, and seeds, and our minds immediately think natural, wholesome, and fiber-rich. Adding a handful to our oatmeal for that satisfying crunch seems like a fantastic way to boost the nutritional value. However, the vast majority of commercially produced granola is a metabolic trap disguised as health food. It's often closer in nutritional profile to a dessert than a healthy breakfast component. The core issue is how granola is made. To achieve that signature crunchy, clumpy texture and a long shelf life, manufacturers bake the oats with a startling amount of sugar and oil. The sugar isn't always listed as sugar. It hides under more natural-sounding names like honey, agave nectar, brown rice syrup, or evaporated cane juice. To your body, it's all the same, a massive dose of sugar that will spike your blood glucose and promote inflammation. A small half-cup serving of a popular granola brand can easily contain more sugar than a glazed donut. Then there are the oils. The oils used are typically inexpensive, highly refined options like canola, soybean, or palm oil. These oils are often high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, when consumed in excess without a balancing intake of omega-3s, can promote a state of chronic inflammation throughout the body. For seniors already dealing with arthritis, joint stiffness, or heart concerns, adding this pro-inflammatory fuel to the fire is the last thing we need. Let's not forget portion distortion. The serving size listed on a granola bag is usually a minuscule quarter cup or third cup. But who actually measures that? Most of us pour freely, easily consuming 2 or 3 times the recommended serving, and with it, hundreds of hidden calories and dozens of grams of sugar and fat. I once spoke with a woman named Ellen, 71, who was incredibly frustrated. She exercised daily and ate her oatmeal with a healthy topping of granola, yet she was struggling with her afternoon energy levels and stubborn belly fat. When we looked at the nutrition label of her favorite low-fat granola, she was shocked. She was adding 15 grams of sugar to her breakfast without realizing it. She swapped the granola for a small handful of raw chopped pecans and a sprinkle of chia seeds. The change was profound. Her energy stabilized and she felt less puffy. She said, "I was tricked by the packaging. The crunch I was craving was costing me my health." If you desire that crunch, create your own. A sprinkle of raw walnuts, almonds, or pecans provides healthy fats, fiber, and protein. Toasted pumpkin or sunflower seeds add a wonderful texture. A tablespoon of unsweetened coconut flakes can offer a satisfying chew. By choosing these single-ingredient toppings, you get the texture you love without the hidden sugars and inflammatory oils. It's time to look past the marketing and see granola for what it often is, a cookie masquerading as a health food. Part 7. The misguided use of protein powders. As we age, maintaining muscle mass is fundamentally important for our strength, mobility, and overall vitality. We hear from doctors and fitness experts alike that adequate protein intake is crucial, especially at breakfast. This has led many well-intentioned seniors to stir a scoop of protein powder into their daily oatmeal, believing they are giving their bodies a powerful, muscle-building head start. While the intention is sound, the execution can be fraught with hidden problems. The modern protein powder market is a wild west of formulations, many of which are loaded with ingredients that are less than ideal for an aging body. Many popular whey, soy, or even plant-based protein powders contain a host of unwanted extras: artificial sweeteners to make them palatable, artificial flavors to create vanilla or chocolate tastes, thickening agents like xanthan gum to improve texture, and preservatives to extend their shelf life. As we've already discussed, these are synthetic compounds that place an unnecessary filtering burden on our liver and kidneys, organs that are already working with the wisdom and wear of many decades. Furthermore, there's the issue of protein overload. While protein is vital, the aging body processes it differently. Our kidneys, in particular, are responsible for filtering the waste products from protein metabolism. When we consume a highly concentrated, massive dose of protein, like 25 or 30 grams in a single scoop, it can place significant strain on the kidneys. For someone who already has even a mild, undiagnosed reduction in kidney function, which is very common with age, this daily protein bombardment can slowly accelerate that decline over time. Consider Dennis, a 78-year-old former accountant who was determined to stay strong. A magazine article convinced him to add a scoop of vanilla whey protein to his oatmeal every single morning. He was also taking medication for his blood pressure. Over the course of a year, his routine kidney function tests started showing a slight but steady decline. His nephrologist, after a careful review, identified the high daily dose of processed protein as a likely contributor. Dennis was advised to get his protein from whole food sources spread throughout the day. He switched his breakfast to plain oatmeal with a hard-boiled egg on the side and focused on including lean chicken or fish at lunch and dinner. His kidney function stabilized. He said, "I thought more was better. I didn't realize I was overworking a system that needed gentle care." If you desire to boost the protein in your breakfast, turn to real food first. A spoonful of plain Greek yogurt, a tablespoon of hemp or chia seeds, or a small handful of almonds can add valuable, high-quality protein without the synthetic baggage. A side of eggs is a classic and wonderful choice. The wisdom of our age is to understand that balance and moderation are more powerful than sheer force. Nourish your muscles gently with clean, whole foods that your body recognizes and can use efficiently.
As we've journeyed through these 7 examples, a clear and empowering truth emerges. Your morning bowl of oatmeal holds immense potential for health, but its power is unlocked not by what you add, but by what you consciously choose to leave out. Brown sugar, artificial sweeteners, dried fruits, flavored packets, non-dairy creamers, granola, and processed protein powders.
Each represents a modern convenience that can come at a cost to our long-term wellness. The lesson here is not one of deprivation, but one of beautiful simplicity and profound self-respect. It's about honoring the bodies that have served us so well by providing them with real, clean, and uncomplicated fuel. It's about trading the artificial for the authentic, the processed for the pure. A simple bowl of oats, adorned with fresh berries, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and a handful of nuts, is more than just a meal. It is an act of love for your future self. It is a daily commitment to a vibrant, energetic, and healthy life in these precious golden years. Thank you for joining us on this senior-wise journey. If this conversation has brought you value, please show your support by giving this video a like and share it with a friend or family member who could benefit from this knowledge. Most importantly, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell. Your support allows us to continue creating this vital content for our wonderful community. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.